Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining today. We're really excited to go over our Lightspeed and Google's latest integration release that is local inventory ads. So let's get started. So just a few housekeeping rules. This webinar will be recorded. Today's webinar is scheduled for about 30 minutes with time for Q&A. And if you have any questions throughout, please enter them in the questions box found on your Zoom control panel. Our team will be providing live links in the chat box as the presentation goes on. Lastly, we will be following up with resources shared today in this presentation. Okay, so a quick look at our agenda. The first thing we're going to be discussing is our global collaboration with Google. Then we'll move on to what exactly are local inventory ads, which we're really excited to talk to you about today. Then we're going to get to know the local inventory ads integration. I'm going to pass it off to Mustafa to talk about online ads to in-store traffic. And finally, a demo of the local inventory ads integration. The last bit of the presentation will be for frequently asked questions we'll cover, and then of course the Q&A. So now I have the pleasure to introduce to you our panel for today. So we have Matthew Gillory, who is the product manager at Google, and the Lightspeed team, which is Mustafa Aliasker, who's our sales engineer, and myself, Chloe Freeman, senior partner manager. So before we get into the Google partnership, we kind of like to introduce ourselves as a company and explain a little bit more about what we do. Lightspeed is a modern cloud-based commerce platform that helps entrepreneurs run their small to medium-sized business. So we allow business owners to sell across multiple channels, both physical in-store and digital online, manage their entire operations, engage with their businesses through offerings like Lightspeed POS, Lightspeed Loyalty, Lightspeed Analytics, Lightspeed Payments, Lightspeed Capital, and Lightspeed e-commerce solutions. So we have the full suite. So let's talk about where we started with the launch of the Lightspeed and Google global partnership. If we take a quick look at the timeline here, we can see that the Google partnership was signed in December 2019. And as some of you may know, Google is the master of acronyms. So GMB is the abbreviation for Google My Business, which was our first integration with Google that we launched general availability last August. Our latest integration we're excited to discuss today, of course, is LIA, which is local inventory ads. And yes, there is more to come. So now I'd like to go and start with a quick poll. So what I'd like to know is, here we go. Have you ever used Google to find a product at a nearby store? So I'll leave this on for another 10 seconds. Awesome. So let's go ahead and share the results. The majority of our participants, about 84%, have used Google to find a product at a nearby store. So that's quite a bit. And if you have, you're not alone. Mobile searches for the best place to buy products locally have grown by over 70% throughout the pandemic. Perfect. So I'm now going to pass the mic over to our Google expert, Matt, and he's going to talk a little bit more about local inventory ads in more depth. So over to you, Matt.
Hi, everyone. Super excited to be here to talk more about local inventory ads to y'all. So I'm going to get things started off with a few more stats just to build things up a little bit more and get you guys a little bit more excited. So can we go to the next slide? So first stat here, so during the pandemic, people have been trying to find things available in store and trying to figure out which stores have certain goods in stock. So searches for who has plus in stock have grown over 8,000% year over year. So this is just demonstrating that these queries have grown a lot. People are really looking for what's in store. Okay, next slide. People are also trying to support local businesses, especially now as we come out of the pandemic. People know that local businesses have been struggling and they really want to support them. And we're seeing that on our search activity as well. So searches for local plus businesses have grown over 80% year over year. Okay, next slide. And finally, just to hammer in the point a little bit more, searches for available near me have also grown over 100% year over year. So I think these stats just demonstrate that people are definitely looking for products available locally and coming to Google to understand that information more than ever before. Okay, so let's talk about now what we need to get started to start using Leah and start having your products surface on Google services. Okay, so usually to onboard onto Leah, we need a number of different things. So we need your product data, your price data, and your inventory data. So we need to know about all your products, what stores they're sold in, and how much inventory they have in those stores. However, since you guys are going to be partnering through Lightspeed, we really only need one thing to provide users with all this data, and that's the G10. So on the next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about G10s. So G10s are basically just your product ID. So they have a number of different things can qualify as a G10. In North America, this is the UPC, or in Europe, this is the EAN. And this is just basically the unique product identifier. We're using this G10 to actually match your products up against different details, such as the product details, the price, the different images, so that we can show this information to the user without you having to input all that information by yourself. So G10s, make sure you submit the right G10 for each product so we can show the correct information. And every product that you want to advertise on Google or show to users has to have a G10 for us to be able to match the right data to it and show that information. Okay, next slide. So after you provide us with the G10, what you're really going to see is that your products are going to be able to surface on every single surface across Google. So this includes search, Google Maps, shopping, even Google Assistant. So just by providing that G10, you're really going to see a lot of impressions on your product, more people seeing it, and bringing more people into your store. Okay, next slide. Okay, so let's first talk about the organic local inventory surfaces. So these are the ones that you'll get for free just for onboarding onto Leah. Okay, so there's a number of different organic surfaces that you'll get here. So the first one on the very far left is organic surfaces in the local unit on search. So this surfaces on specific product queries and also on categorical queries as well. So this format will show your products in the local unit alongside your store and show which products that you have in stock that are related to the user search. Moving down the line, the next one is what we call the See What's in Store unit, or SWIS. As Chloe mentioned, here at Google, we love acronyms. So here's another one for you guys. So this will surface when a user searches for your specific store and they look at the products tab, and they'll be able to see an assortment of products that you sell in your store. And in the middle, we have another example of the local unit, this time on categorical search. So in this one, we'll be able to show which products you have in stock via the local inventory justification. And that's the little in-stock check mark that you see there, and we'll say dog food. Okay, moving on to the next one. Final thing we have here is, still on this slide, is for chain search. So when users look up a chain of stores, they'll be able to see the products that you sell in those stores as well. Okay, let's deep dive into a couple of these areas right now. So the See What's in Store unit, or SWIS unit, as we call it here at Google, is a very important unit. We see a lot of impressions on this one, and we really see it helping shoppers along with their journeys as well. So people will come to this unit, search for different products, maybe even go towards the product website, and really get a good understanding of what's sold in the store before they actually go. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And another one that's a bit newer. So we also are able to show your inventory on the shopping tab on Google as well. So these are free listings on the shopping tab. The shopping is now open to free listings as well. So if users navigate to the shopping tab, they'll be able to see your listings among search results here as well. Okay, nice. So now that we've talked a little bit about the organic surfaces, let's talk about the ad surfaces as well. Okay. So some of the things that you see here might be familiar to the previous organic slides. And I want to highlight that what you're getting with ads is really a higher surface. So these will often show up further on the page or have more prominence. The first two, though, are a little bit different than any of the organic surfaces. So these show up on near me product search or just regular product search. Let's focus on the near me product search first. So near me product search will have and this is product search where a user has specified that they want to search for products near me in particular. So on these ones, we'll actually take over the UI and show products available in store first, and also have a tab to allow users to search online as well. That your offers will be eligible to show up in this first tab, and it will also show other products available in the store as well. Your products are also eligible to show up on general product search as well. So when a user doesn't specify that they specifically want to search for products in store, but we might have some signals that they want to shop locally by the category that they're searching for, or personalization signals. So in these ones, your products will show up with the in-store attribute on over the image, and that will allow users to know that this product is actually available in store and not online. Your products are also eligible to show up on navigational search as well. So this unit is somewhat similar to the see what's in store unit, but it shows up higher up on the page. And finally, on categorical search, we also show our products in the local unit as well. So the ads look pretty similar to the organic version of this, but again, you'll get a higher placement because the ad will always be in the first position here. Okay, nice. And now I'll hand it over back to Chloe.
Thank you so much, Matt. That was awesome. So I'd like to go to the next section with another little poll. It's pretty fun. So the next poll we're gonna ask is right here. We wanna know, have you ever dabbled in Google Ads before? Yes, no, or I wanted to, but I haven't had the time. I'll give it 5 more seconds. Okay, let's check this out. Okay, so we have about 50% of our audience that has dabbled before, 33% who have never done it before, and 20% who wanted to, but they haven't had the time. So I think that's a really healthy mix of some users that are pretty familiar, regardless of if you're a pro or not. The local inventory ads now within Lightspeed are gonna be much more easy to manage. So make sure to share that as well. Okay, so let's get started into how our local inventory ad solution works within Lightspeed. So what does the integration do exactly? So firstly, you can now set up your local inventory ads to reach shoppers online and bring them into your store from directly within your Lightspeed POS. This means when someone searches for a product you carry and it's near them, your local inventory ads will let them know they can go nearby to your store to get what they need. So as a first step, you will need to verify your business. And we get this question quite a bit. So why is this so important? It's simple. Basically, it allows you to confirm that you are the rightful owner of your business. This also allows you to manage your GMV or Google My Business profile and allows you to get access to your new Merchant Center account within Lightspeed. So this will be needed as a step in order to place local inventory ads through our platform. So I'd like to pass this back to Mustafa to talk about why this integration is so amazing for our Lightspeed retailers. So over to you, Moose.
Thanks, Chloe. Hey everyone, my name is Mustafa. I work with the sales engineering team here at Lightspeed. And I think it's pretty simple, and it says it in bold in your slide. It's pre-verified inventory, lets you place ads instantly. So the standard way of verifying your inventory with Google would be to upload a list of products into the Google Merchant Center, ensure inventory numbers are accurate and added to the Merchant Center. All of this what Matt went over. Upload product images, again, into the Merchant Center, and then once your inventory is synced and verified, you can create ads from the Merchant Center itself. However, with Lightspeed, which we call the Lightspeed meets Google way, you could create your Merchant Center account directly from Lightspeed. And once you're verified, your POS inventory with valid GTINs are automatically synced into Google systems. So that's it. Bypass all of the inventory upkeep necessary that needs to be done in the Merchant Center to keep your inventory up to date.
Awesome, thank you, Mustafa. Yeah, so to be clear, You can now do this in Lightspeed in these 5 easy steps, which Mustafa will show a demo in just a little bit. But basically, you're going to be able to go to the new marketing tab in the navigation toolbar within Lightspeed Retail. You can sync your Google My Business locations, sync your inventory within the Google Merchant Center. And this will actually allow to connect your feeds to Swiss, as Matt mentioned, or see what's in store. And that's totally free. So if you're a Lightspeed retailer and you want to surface your stock and inventory on Google, that's a free service that's made available now. The next thing would be to update your billing information and then set a daily budget and place an ad. So it's really a much more simplified process. And to summarize once more, Lightspeed makes it now so you kind of don't have to manage all the fiddly bits of local inventory ads on your own. This includes, as Mustafa mentioned, pre-verified inventory. So uploading those products directly to the Google Merchant Center from Lightspeed. It allows you to contextually display ads to potential customers in a set radius around you. You can set up your budgets and set up your cost per click directly within Lightspeed. And then you can also track how well your ads are doing, which products have the most searches. So essentially, this is a service that's made easy for you, and it's completely built in directly to your point of sale. So my favorite part, another poll. So I'm going to go ahead and ask one more question here. Okay. What we'd like to know is, if you are a retailer, how omni-channel is your business? Are you completely omni-channel, a little bit, or are you just totally brick and mortar and haven't dabbled on the e-commerce side? As a reminder, omni-channel means both online and in-store. I'll give it just a few more seconds here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. So quite a large part of the audience is about 40% is completely omni-channel, meaning that they're both in-store and online. We have about half the audience that's just a little bit omni-channel. So maybe you have some online presence, but mostly brick and mortar or vice versa. And then there's about 16% who are totally brick and mortar. So this is definitely interesting for those who would like to have their products surfaced online, but haven't gone as far potentially as to create an e-commerce or anything like that. So, and if you're not selling online yet, check out our guide to start selling online. We're going to post it in a chat. So I am going to pass this over now to Mustafa. There we go. To showcase how Lightspeed and local inventory ads are part of an omni-channel strategy.
Yeah, thanks, Chloe. So yeah, now that we've seen the importance of LEO for the visibility of your business, let's talk about how Lightspeed's omni-channel features can help you optimize your online and in-store presence. So, like Chloe mentioned in a tidbit, what is omni-channel? By definition, it's, omni-channel is a type of retail that integrates the different methods of shopping available to consumers. So online, in a physical store, by phone. With Lightspeed, you will be able to offer this type of consumer experience to all of your customers. We have a suite of products that will help you sell in-store and online efficiently with centralized inventory and data management. So having an online store will help you sell to your customers anywhere. And by doing it with Lightspeed, managing an online sales channel becomes easy because it's integrated to your POS. Why stop there? We have a very large partner network that can be leveraged to sell on other channels such as Amazon, on eBay, and any other popular sales platforms. And with this partnership with Google, we have the ability to easily set up ads. You can now bring in organic local traffic into your stores, even if you don't have a website set up. And we also take customer retention very, very seriously. A happy customer, should I say a happy repeat customer, will always bring in more customers. And so Lightspeed loyalty is something that can be put in place to reward repeat customers. And now you can offer that experience to anyone shopping online and in store. And finally, in this day and age, with how much the world of commerce has changed in such a short period of time, you want to be able to offer curbside and in-store pickup options for your customers who want the easy shop online and pick up in-store experience. And with that said, you don't need e-com or all the other omnichannel tools that Lightspeed offers to use local inventory ads, but they do fit into a wider omnichannel picture you can capture. All right, so let's go over a quick demo. So video is taking a little bit of time. A lot bit of time. Cool. So clicking into the marketing section in the Lightspeed interface will now display all of the Google integration functions. And as you know, the first iteration of our partnership is the integration to Google My Business. And from here, we can sync and manage our GMB locations. But you can also now manage inventory, which means that we can create a Google Merchant Center directly from Lightspeed. This will integrate your point of sale inventory into the newly created Merchant Center by referencing the product G10s. This is going to bypass the lengthy validation and upload process you would typically have to go through to upload your inventory into the Google Merchant Center. But don't forget that once this Merchant Center is synced, this enables your Swiss or see what's in store. Once your locations and inventory have been synced, you can start creating local inventory ads. And here we can create a new ads account, but note you can also use an existing ads account. Once an ads account is created, you can set up your first campaign. So you can name your campaign, set a daily budget, add a max cost per click, and this will also give you a nice estimate to what your total ad spend may be for the month. You can then set a local radius from your shop and finalize this campaign. The final step to your local ads being live would be to fill out the billing details for your ad spend on the Google side. And this is going to be done by following the steps highlighted in the Google invite email. Once completed, your marketing dashboard will look like this. And so from here, we can manage and report on our campaigns. You can see that campaign performance can be viewed as a whole, as a product, or even at a category level. And reporting for impressions, clicks, and spend on your campaigns can be filtered by campaign and location. Finally, this is also where we'll be able to edit aspects of ongoing campaigns. So edit your daily budget, edit your max cost per click, maybe your radiuses. You've noticed you wanted to make it larger or even smaller. And as well as pause, remove, and reinstate current campaigns. And that's it. So that was an extremely quick demo because the idea is to turn a tedious process into just an easy few steps.
Thanks, Mustafa. So that brings us to our frequently asked questions section. And remember, there's still time to submit additional questions in the Q&A panel on your Zoom. And anything we don't get to today, we will send out an email after to our attendees of the presentation, including the questions as well. So the first question, this question is actually from Mustafa. So if I already have a Google My Business profile, why should I connect it through Lightspeed?
Sorry, I was muted. So this will enable you to manage parts of your GMB profile on Lightspeed's interface. So you wouldn't have to kind of get out and log into GMB on another tab, for example. But the biggest benefit would be that it'll be the first step in syncing your POS inventory to Google's ad technology.
Awesome, thank you. Next one, this one's gonna be for Matt to answer. So what should I do if I have trouble claiming my Google My Business profile or Merchant Center account?
Yeah, so if you have trouble claiming your Google My Business profile, you need to make sure that you use the same account that you're using in Lightspeed. Also, that you'll need to know the owner of the listing. So make sure that you're added as an owner there as well. On the Merchant Center side, we actually aren't currently able to allow existing Merchant Center accounts to be claimed through Lightspeed. though this is a feature that's being released soon. And again, if you don't have a Merchant Center account, make sure you use the same one that you used for your Google My Business account. And that one can be linked through Lightspeed.
Great, thank you. So next one's actually another one for you. And it's a question that comes up often, which is, you've already kind of gone through it in the presentation, but what is a GTIN and how do I use it?
Yeah, so I realized in the presentation I didn't actually spell out the acronym for GTIN. So it is spelled on this slide as a global trade identification number. So this is a unique number for commercial products. It's usually by the manufacturer, and it actually allows us to match this product with richer details. So the main thing that we'll be matching it with is an image. So we'll have a high quality image for all products that have a matching GTIN. And we'll be able to show that image on all the formats that we use to show your product.
Awesome, thank you. The next one. So this one I'll actually keep passing back to you, Matt. But are there any products that might be disapproved for local inventory ads?
Yeah, so there's a couple cases where you might get a GTIN disapproved. So one is if the GTIN doesn't match anything in the Google database. So that in that case, it will not be approved. The other case is that it must comply with Google Shopping Ads policy. So we don't accept dangerous goods or unapproved supplements. I don't think we accept fake goods either. So there's some goods that actually don't align with the policy, and those won't be accepted either.
Okay, good to know. So next, I'm actually going to pass back to Mustafa. I'm going to ask, how do I know that my ads are working?
Well, in the Lightspeed marketing tab, you'll clearly be able to see them as your ads is marked as active, and you would also be able to see in the reporting section that your campaigns are active, and you can then view that data to optimize those ads. So the data will only be there for active campaigns.
Great. Next one back to Matt is, why might I not be spending my budget, my daily budget?
Yeah, so there's basically 3 reasons why you might not be spending your budget. So one is that shoppers might not be clicking on your ads. And this is sort of a catch-all that sort of results in actually the other 2 conditions. So that's one being a very small amount of inventory has actually been uploaded onto Google. So if you haven't actually uploaded most of your product inventory, then it might not be eligible to show on very many queries. And so you don't have many shoppers actually clicking on your ads. So make sure you upload all of your inventory to get the maximum amount of benefit from this. And 2 is if the distance targeting has been set to a very small radius. So only people within your distance targeting will actually be eligible to see your ads. So if that's been set to a pretty small radius, there might not be that many people searching for them. So you might not actually get that many clicks and not be able to spend your budget. So make sure you set it to a reasonable enough radius so that you can get the maximum amount of benefit here as well.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much for answering that. We are now ready for questions. So I know there's been some that have been added to the chat, and I will go ahead and take this first question. Let's just see. So the question is, how does Google associate images with UPC? And so maybe Matt, that goes back to you if you want to elaborate more on that GTIN connection and what Google does there with the UPC code.
Yeah, so basically we have a database where we are able to match the GTIN to the product images and other details here. So that's basically how that magic is happening.
Awesome, yeah, and I think the way that I best understood it is, when you have product images on Google and you're placing ads on Google, it's very important to have consistency in the product images and make sure that it's perfectly fitting and it looks really great. And that's the benefit of this integration is if you do have a UPC and the GTIN matches that UPC, Google has the right image for your product. And that's really important. So another question is, I believe it was asking about the GTIN. So if there is no UPC code, unfortunately, there's no way to match that to a GTIN. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So it is required to have a UPC. Okay, cool. So let's just go to the next question. Would this be redundant to sign up for if I'm already engaged in a contract for Google Ads? So maybe, I'm not sure if that's Matt, if you want to be able to answer that.
Yeah, so I think one thing about this is that if you're not, you could have a contract for Google Ads, but if you're not using local inventory ads, this is a great way to onboard onto local inventory ads. It's probably the easiest way to do it because all you have to provide is the G10s. And if you're not using local inventory ads and you do sell products in store, local inventory ads is the best way to promote them. It definitely has better return on ad spend compared to like other Google ad products as far as selling products available in your store. So I'd still recommend doing it if you're not yet onboarded onto Leah.
Okay, great. That's good to know. And we have quite a few questions rolling in right now. And I'm just going to mention, if we don't get to all of them today, we will be able to send out an email after. One question that comes up quite often is a reasonable daily budget. So if you're creating ads campaigns for the first time, what would you suggest, Matt, is the reasonable daily budget, and kind of what does it depend on?
Yeah, so it really depends on how many people you want to see your ads and how many people you want to get into your store. So I think it also depends on like how many products you sell, how big your store is. So it's really hard to answer that question as far as like what's a reasonable daily budget for everyone. But I would say it's okay to start small and see how much uplift you're getting from starting small, and if you're able to spend that budget. And then as you see the performance, people going to your store, people seeing the ads, upping the budget from there as well.
Okay, great. And a lot of these questions are coming in, obviously directed for the Google expert, which is you, Matt. So I'm just going to keep asking you a few more questions. Sorry, Mustafa. But another question we have is, will large businesses take priority over small, medium-sized businesses in the near me searches because they're paying more for ads?
Yeah, so a couple things there. So no, like we don't give any preference to any merchant over one other. The ads order is determined mostly by the relevancy to the query. So if someone's searching for screwdrivers, we'll show ads of screwdrivers to them. As far as larger merchants spending more, that actually isn't always the case. So there's some cases where larger merchants might spend less. So smaller merchants might get a little bit of a boost if they spend more to show up higher. So yeah, I would say it's not always the case that larger merchants spend more. We do see a lot of smaller merchants being successful on those near me queries.
Okay, great. Another question, which is, are the product images that show in Google populated from the Lightspeed product listings, or are the images hosted by Google that get matched via the UPC?
So yeah, it would be the second case there.
Yeah, we kind of already went over that, but just to be clear, it would be Google's database. Another question that just trickled in around that same topic is there a way for a retailer to see if a certain product or UPC does have an associated GTIN? Is there some kind of database they can look that up in, or how would they find that?
Yeah, so the best way to do it, I would say, is to actually just submit it, and we'll let you know if it doesn't match a G10. And if it does, then you're good to go.
Okay, great. We have some other questions on the different product limitations, and I know you touched on that earlier on some of the more high-risk industries. So we will be sharing that after the presentation. We can kind of discuss what products might not be passed for the time being, just due to the regulations that are in place. All right, we'll do one more question here. Let's just see. We've got quite a few coming in. I think that if you are missing EAN or UPC data, the integration itself, and maybe Mustafa can answer this, will let you know that that item has not been found within match. Is that correct?
Yeah, so when you're managing your inventory in the marketing tab, you'd be able to see the values of items that do not have UPCs or EANs. And to kind of mitigate that, what you can do is do a bulk upload within Lightspeed, so you wouldn't have to go into each individual product and add those valid fields in. You can just have that on a spreadsheet and upload that right away.
Okay, great. Let me just see what else we can have here. I see, and maybe Matt, this is one where you can answer. Ads are set automatically to Google Ads, but lines are not shown in an optimal way. How can I change it manually?
So sorry, can you repeat the question? So lines are not shown in an optimal way?
Yeah, so ads are set automatically to Google Ads, but the lines are not shown in an optimal way. How can I change it manually? Maybe
Yeah,
this is a
maybe we
question we
saw
can answer after as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question we have is what is considered nearby, and what's the kind of radius you can choose that would be deemed nearby?
Okay, yeah. So I think this is a pretty good question as well. So we think about nearby from like two sort of sides. So one is the query. So if someone specifies near me in the query, we'll show your ads if they fall in the radius target, if the user like falls in the radius target that you set in Lightspeed interface. So that's something that you can actually control. And that's something that you can also play around with as well. We see users like driving like pretty far sometimes to convert on products that they want, maybe up to like 50 miles. But I think maybe a good recommendation to start is like on the order of like maybe 20 to 30 miles.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We have a couple more questions here that are trickling in. So what is the call to action in a local product ad for a store without an e-com presence?
Yeah,
Maybe
so
Mustafa, or actually Matt, if you can answer that.
yeah, so on the actual ad format, it will show in store as an overlay above the image if you don't have an e-com presence, to let the user know that this product is available in store, not online. And it will also show up in like other units, like the local unit, which is specifically for local stores, and in your place sheet, which is also a local store unit on Google as well.
Okay, great. We have some other questions that are rolling in surrounding if not having GTINs or not having UPCs written out. And another is a question about, if I don't have UPCs, what would be the best method to get your products in there? And I think maybe Matt, you can confirm that they do need to have a UPC in order to find it in Google's database in order to provide those product images for the ads.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, that's the answer for that one.
Okay. Another question from Matt: how does this integration relate to Pointy, which is a partner of Lightspeed?
Yeah, so Pointy is another pointer of Google, and I guess Lightspeed as well. So Pointy also helps with providing inventory data as well. So if you already are advertising on Leah through Pointy, I don't think there's necessarily a great reason to also try it through Lightspeed. I will also defer to like the Lightspeed experts to help on that question.
Yeah, man, I think the overall is when you're integrating through Lightspeed versus Pointy, Lightspeed will create a merchant center for you and manage that merchant center. So everything that you're selling from that specific merchant center that's tied into your POS inventory would be sold in tandem to what's connected to Pointy. So it's essentially like having two merchant centers, one dedicated to Lightspeed, and then one would be dedicated to Pointy.
Okay. We have another question on how, if we're launching any promotions or if there's a deal or promotion going on surrounding this announcement. And so I do actually have a quick slide. We are excited to share a unique promotion for all new Google Ads users using the platform within Lightspeed. So Google will match $150 ad credit to kickstart your first campaign. So you can see the link in the chat for more details. This will also be sent out at the end of the presentation. But you can see here, it's a great way to get started, especially for your first time using a campaign. We do have a few more minutes for a few more questions. So if anyone wants to stick around, we'd also love to offer you guys a quick survey of today's webinar, so you can let us know and give us feedback on how you thought it was. So with that, let me just see here really quick. There we go. Maybe one more question for Matt here before we end. What will make the CPC, the cost per click of the LEA vary? So what changes that cost per click?
Yeah, so a few different things will change the cost per click. One is sort of like how far your store is from the user that's searching for the item. Two is how relevant your ad is to the query. So if it's more relevant, you might get a lower CPC. If it's less relevant, the CPC might be a little bit higher. Three is the other ads in the slate, like how much their CPCs are. So if everyone's competing on really high CPCs, you'll have to have a higher one to compete as well. So those are a few different things that can impact CPC, but it's quite a complex like algorithm to figure out what the actual CPC should be. So fluctuations are expected, and yeah.
Awesome. Okay, thanks very much. I think that's it. What we're going to do now is any other questions, please feel free to send us an email and we'll be able to gather those for you and answer them collectively. So it's a lot easier. And just, we're really appreciative for everyone to show up today and join us. And we're so happy and thankful for Matt to be our Google panel expert and Mustafa for giving us a great demo as well as the platform. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.